everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Aftermath. This will be our season wrap-up episode. I am your host, Hillary Z. It is Monday at, I have to do time zone calculations, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to get better at this. Welcome. We are so happy to have you. This will be a spoiler-filled show for the last season of Into the Mist. Just so you are aware, if you have not caught up, you probably don't want to watch this yet. There will be spoilers, so yeah, just so you know. A few announcements before we get started. Of course, want to start with a huge thanks to our friends at Forged Gaming. They make incredible, high-quality tabletop accessories for GMs and players, and they have provided us with a discount code. So if you enter the word RealmSmith20, all one word, at checkout, you'll receive 20% off your entire order. And we get to talk about one of our most amazing partners, Beetle and Grimm's. They have partnered with us for a very special giveaway. You want to talk about that, Jay?
I sure do. I was doing something. I'm back. Yes, we have an awesome Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft Silver Edition box we're giving away. All you need to do within the Discord is become a Discord member. You don't have to pay, though, not Patreon. So Discord, you can join for free. And then if you hit the little invite button, all you do is send the link it gives you, and it generates to whoever, friends, family, who might be interested in our show and in our Discord. And if they're still members, when we do the draw, you get a ballot in the draw for the box. So that's as easy as it sounds. All you do is you invite people. Every person you invite and stays, you get a ballot. So it works. Back to you, Hillary.
Alrighty. Thanks, Jason. We have Pride merch available in our store. So if you want to support us and show your support for the entire LGBTQ plus community, head on over to Teespring to check it out. I got mine already. It's super comfy. It's really beautiful. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Join us Monday nights for our main title show, Into the Mist. We will be doing another season of Into the Mist, which I'm super excited about, with the new characters we've brought in and the new Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. We're excited for implementing lots of new things. We will be off next Monday, but we will be starting our new season on July 5th. And of course, starting up with Aftermath again after that. So we'll be off for a week. The Discord will be up and running during this time. There has been some pretty big developments in the Discord. The Camp Gakis that we have called our home for so long now is being dismantled and split up. And we are reorganizing for strategy against Strahd as he doubles down on the Dawnbringers and those that are assisting them. So if you're interested in becoming a part of this story, consider joining our Patreon, which will give you access to the role-playing portion of our Discord server. There are people role-playing 24 hours a day, so whatever time zone you're in, there's probably going to be people there for you to play with. We do modules, we do adventures. Sometimes we even get to interact with the cast when they come in and hang out at the camp. It's a lot of fun. And I think that's all the announcements we have for tonight. So I think we're ready to get started. So, of course, I am your host, Hillary Z, and look at all these beautiful faces joining us tonight. We've got Jason, we've got Nora, we've got Omega, we've got Adam, we've got Brandon, and last but not least, we've got Dave. Unfortunately, Joel was not able to join us tonight, but he is in our hearts and here in spirit. So the way this is going to work, as it does with every other Aftermath, if you're watching live and you have a question for any of our beautiful audience members, not audience members, cast members, or Jason, go ahead and put it in the chat, prefaced by the word question in all caps, and my fellow moderators, the Smith Guardians, will put that somewhere that I can easily find all of them. So, welcome everybody.
Hi, Hillary.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I can really feel the enthusiasm.
Yeah,
You know what it is?
Right.
They're all in vacation mode. This is supposed to be a week off. Yeah, until we were like, hey, come join us.
Well, we cannot thank you enough for being here with us today. Should be a lot of fun. So I am going to start with a question for everyone, because I would really like this to be a conversation between you guys, because it's not about me. It's about you guys. You guys show up every week and give us this amazing content that we get to watch. So in the last episode, Ezzy said there are no heroes here. With everything that has happened during the season, defeating Baba Lysaga, losing one of your own companions, lighting the beacon, gaining the name Dawnbringers, struggling not to lose yourselves to the darkness, meeting a previous party that gave up and walked away, gaining some insight into Strahd's mind. How do you see yourselves as a group? Do you agree that there are no heroes here?
Wow. That's a lot to unpack.
Starting with a nice, light, easy one.
I could start by saying why my character chose to say that at the moment. Maybe that would probably, I think everything that we have done has come at a price. Like there are no there's no perfect bow tie at the end of everything that what we do. We've lost a party member. We have disagreed on a lot of things. There's no perfect ending to this. There's no perfect ending, because every time we've set out to do something, there's always something else, and the problem seems to get deeper and deeper. And it's not, we can have minor victories, but there's always a price to pay. And so that's why I think Ezzy feels like this isn't a hero's tale. This isn't, that kind of story.
That's good.
I'll also comment real quick, because I'm one of the newer, not just players or characters, but players with the group, and y'all have seen a lot. I when I play characters that aren't from like a native plane, most of the time we all play on the Prime Material or whatever. So when I play a character that's not based in what we know as Earth, for lack of a better word, I like to think about how they would process being in a totally foreign place. And while Barovia in itself is foreign as well, again, he's still from the Feywild. He's all about chaos and just not really chaos, but just being free and just living it up and just enjoying the beauty of it all, because it is supposed to be a more beautiful light version of the Prime Material. But with that being said, I don't think he even understands what the concept of a hero is, because the Feywild doesn't need a hero. You're just you. Like you fend for yourself, you fight for yourself, you live for yourself, and that's that. You don't get praised if you do something. You don't get admired if you do something. And what's the definition of a hero? Someone who gets admired and idolized for these massive feats. But in the Feywild, it's not about having a massive feat. It's just about being. So nothing he does here, especially in Barovia, feels heroic. You'll notice that he always says, he never says, I'm trying to fight Strahd or I'm trying to help my friends. I'm trying to get out of the dream. I'm trying to end the dream, because to him, that's what this is. So it's interesting. And I'm personally, as a player, very interested to see how the party as a whole ventures forth after like a moment like that.
So to that, if I'm allowed to interject with a new question, then that's cool. Okay. Would you say that if Noggin saw an opportunity to end the dream, maybe Strahd shows up and says, hey, look, you can end the dream right now if you do this, would Noggins take him up on that? Thinking, oh, well, it's just a dream, none of it's real. So yeah, if I do this and it ends.
I think it depends on what he's asking, what the situation is. At the end of the day, Noggins, if I go back to my character sheet really quickly, shout out to D&D Beyond. Come on, where you at? Noggins has an intelligence of 8. Come on, if you load. 8. So he's not going to try to analyze what they're saying a lot. He's not easily manipulated because he's very wise, but it really depends on the situation. But if he truly believed that Strahd would end this dream, and the dream to him is Barovia, the dream is making sure the mists are lifted and they can get out. If that dream becomes a reality, then yeah. Because as a dreamer, as someone who knows dreams more than most that he knows, he's like, I know there is an end. And if I see the end and I can leave and get back to my reality, then yeah, I'll do that.
I saw Jay writing that down, like, get Noggins to do something horrible. I feel like he was taking some notes.
I'm totally taking that's all this is. All this is my ability to build narrative for next season. I would also say in that whole thing, I think that party makeup I think has a lot to do with it as well. I mean, Esmeralda is like a folk hero as a monster hunter and so on and so forth, and Dimitri's probably the closest thing to like the quintessential stereotypical archetypical hero, being a paladin, but he started the whole thing having felt like he failed. He wasn't part of his order anymore, coming into a dark place, trying to get vengeance and retribution. So, I mean, for the most part, nobody is that kind of swashbuckling hero type. And I think that also lends to the kind of, I want to say, gray moral ground that we kind of stand on as a stream, as a narrative, I guess. I think that probably lends to it, is because nobody's necessarily minded that way. And not to say that everybody's selfish or cowardly, but it's not that, stereotypical, we're out to save the world kind of party necessarily, if that makes sense. There's moments of it, but I think everybody's still trying to figure out who they are to start with. And yeah, so I think that has something to do with it too.
True.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to add to that, that I think just as far as Dimitri's concerned, it's never even been about like self-promotion or trying to be heroic per se, but just the struggle towards doing what's right, and the sort of pessimism that comes along with having tried that before and it failing time and time again. And so that sort of journey kind of starts from that place and is projected towards just the ultimate goal of getting the mission completed, and which I think is why he sort of hasn't leaned in to like any of the notoriety that's come about as being labeled as the Dawnbringers. I think it's sort of just been like a side thing where he's very kind of single-focused, single-minded. This needs to get done, and we're going to do it type mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Travas, going back to the hero aspect, Esmeralda was like the folk hero of the world, and I can kind of picture him like running around in his garden as a kid with a wood sword, poking all the spiders, like, "Hey, I'm a little Esmeralda," like thinking of her as this hero of the lands, and then to find out there's 4 more of them, and to start hearing rumors about them, or maybe making up some rumors about them. And then the first thing that happens when he meets them is he finds out one of them died. That's like, these guys are supposed to be heroes, and they're like fighting with each other. They're not working together. They're letting each other die. Like, I mean, obviously they're great.
That's that whole saying of like, never meet your heroes for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what he did. And now he realizes, like, I don't know, maybe that's going to be inspiration to him. Like, I mean, if these guys can do it, I could do it, Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, is people are so much more relatable than heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Being called a hero sets such an unnatural precedent that nobody can live up to.
It's a pedestal that you quite literally didn't ask for.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's also why everybody loves the anti-hero, or the accidental hero, which I think that a lot of these characters are. I think that that's why people can relate with them. People love them. People want to find out what they do next, because it's not, there's no like predetermined storyline of what they might do. And every one of the characters has surprised me and the community with something that they've done at any given time. Because again, I think it keeps it interesting. I think that having a whole group of heroes isn't as entertaining, because it's a lot more I guess it's written in stone, right? It's a lot more predictable.
So Jay, what's been one of the most sort of shocking things that one of us has decided to do that's made you start ruffling through the guidebooks and
Oh
like,
gosh,
what do I do with this?
yeah, so many. I think that I think the Bluto thing was like shocking to me. I think that my jaw kind of dropped, maybe physically and figuratively. Like I was a little shocked by Sterling's action. I knew Dimitri would want to bring vengeance. I think another shocking thing was the coffin maker shop. And that was one of the first times I think that we saw Dimitri like become his dark, vengeful self. We didn't expect that. As far as like going, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I think you guys said you wanted to go somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but there was a location that we hadn't been in a long time. And I was like, oh no, I guess we're going there. And what was it? Was it Valaki? I can't remember what it was. Anyways, I think it was this season. And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And that's always fun. I mean, because again, you never know, right? Where people are gonna go. So.
I bet every time we go to Gackus, you're like, oh man, okay, here we go.
Yeah, Gackus is a tough one because they have a voice of their own, right? So then I have to be like, okay, well, how would Gackus, from when I've been in the Discord and knowing how the elders do, what would they do in this situation? And it's like you're representing a whole community and you don't want to get it wrong.
And also the timeline issue comes into play a lot.
It's timey-wimey,
like,
yeah.
Just now, like we're in Gackus technically, but now Gackus is no longer going to be Gackus. So are we all going to the Vistana ground too?
Yeah.
Or we're still there? We did get the note, so it's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, somebody I noticed. I was looking through the Ludari chat, and somebody had tagged me because they put a note on my Vardo door saying like, "Hey, we're I don't know, we're doing something." I don't remember what it said. But then the next thing I saw was that they were tying my horses to my Vardo to take it somewhere else. And I'm like, I'm sleeping inside of there.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna wake up in a totally different area. I mean, it's his fault for sleeping for 4 days, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's something I got to deal with now. It's like he's in I don't even know where.
Yeah. I should have clarified. I did say you guys stayed there for a couple days.
Yeah.
So the assumption is that you guys are no longer in Gackus. That you guys were there for 2 days.
Well, that makes it even more of an existential crisis.
It's weird, right? But we'll find out where you guys are in 2 Mondays.
Yeah, well, yeah, it did. I'll just say really quickly. It did mention that the Dawnbringers and Esmeralda Vardo still has a space in this spot.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to leave, but the Vistani themselves were going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not in the Dawnbringers camp.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm in my Vardo, which is in the Vistani camp.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oops.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've been dragged into the future.
Gackus has been gifted to the Dusk Elves, so you guys are all going to wake up and all the Vistani are gone, and there's just a bunch of Dusk Elves hanging out.
You killed our friends.
And death.
Yeah.
Murder horrible time.
Maybe your dad will be there somewhere.
Yeah.
So going back to talking about Travas and his experience of joining the Dawnbringers, he rightfully so has received some pushback from the party of kind of making it clear, like, you're not part of the party yet. But I'm kind of wondering, and like Dave and everybody else can answer this, what do you guys think it would take for him to really earn his place among the party?
I think he's already started.
Yeah. For me, it's weird. Because I know that I'm not a Dawnbringer. I'm kind of part of the group because I'm like this fanboy that just won't leave them alone now. And I tried to prove myself a few times in battle, but I'm not sure that necessarily happened. I didn't have really a warm welcome. So yeah, he knows that he's not really one of them, but they're kind of letting him hang out, and hopefully he can earn it. I don't know how. Tell me the secret. Tell me how.
I don't know if there's any secret. It's just, at least for Esmeralda, it's like, don't betray us and fight in a battle and you're good. And the rest is like hoping for us to survive, and that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Sterling's along that line too. So he already respects Travas a lot. He's not showing a lot of it. He's keeping that, kind of quiet because he wants Travas to go through the full experience of feeling like he belongs. So in Sterling's mind, Travas already is part of the group, but he's just waiting for Travas to realize it. So
I think as far as Dimitri is concerned, inviting someone new into the group he would sort of be taking his leadership cues the same way Godfrey invited him to the Order of the Silver Dragon, because as far as Dimitri realizes, like he was made a knight because he was the same goal as Godfrey, and then they have the same mission, and like Godfrey wanted Dimitri to be on his team and made it official. And so I think like if Travas wants to be a Dawnbringer too, that Dimitri will sort of welcome him with the same acceptance and the same, like, readily accept him.
This is all very interesting because there's a very there's a tie that Travas and Noggins have, and it's that they are the two newbies, but where one, idolizes this group, the other quite literally had nowhere else to go. He was a goat. But he's not technically a Dawnbringer. He hasn't done all these heroic deeds. He just happened to be with them and knew somebody and knew this group from being in Berez when he was a goat. But I'm trying to remember what episode it was, but they were talking about Travas, and someone had said, like, you're not one of us or something like that. And Noggins was like, does that make me not one of you too? Because I'm not here to join some exclusive club. I quite literally can't go back home. I'm stuck in this nightmare. I'll be with y'all. I don't mind being with y'all. Y'all seem cool. You're close with the guy that made me want to be with y'all. So like, I will stay, but what is this exclusive Dawnbringer thing? Who? You okay? You lit a beacon, yay! But you haven't brought the dawn back. So he also is. There's a level, and it's slowly happening, but he doesn't care about the potential ego that comes with all of that, and he will check that.
It's interesting that like Noggins was part of the group before he could speak. Like he's like a tag along to the group because the group wants him, and Travas is a tag along to the group because he wants to be. Yeah. So we're both kind of like getting towed along by the party and helping them out, but from sort of opposite ends of desire.
Very true. So
that kind of brings me to something that I was wondering about Nora. Early in the season, Esmeralda revealed that it was her tribe, her parents, who were responsible for Erasmus's death, and were then subsequently killed by the undead that were under the control of Van Richten. And then after Muskoka's death, she mentioned she felt like she had failed Van Richten. Why is that? And what, if anything, could she do to redeem herself in his eyes and her eyes?
Well, a lot has happened since that. I think Esmeralda feels differently about Van Richten right now.
Yeah.
There is still a lot of residual guilt over Erasmus, and feeling like in her deep down inside, there's some kind of innocence there that feels like she could have done something to stop that from happening, when we know probably in reality there wasn't. But she very much feels like she bears some sort of responsibility for that, and which I don't think will ever go away. But where there was, I feel like in the past, up until very recently, she felt very much indebted to Van Richten and needing to be there for his help and needing to be there along the journey alongside him in this quest to defeat Strahd, now very much maybe she feels like she doesn't have to be protected and feels a little betrayed. And we will see how that plays out because that is still very fresh, but don't know how much she welcomes the aid of Van Richten at the moment. But there is still a lot of questions about Erasmus, yeah.
Yeah, many questions.
I have a fun question.
I'd
like to know, as characters, if you all think that you'll succeed in the final task of destroying Strahd and bringing back the Dawn. And then I want to hear as players how you feel and if you think that the party will succeed in completing the task that have been set upon them. Start with Nora and we'll go across.
I personally feel like, especially because we have the Discord community and we as a party are not alone, that gives me stronger hope that
that's Nora's opinion.
That is just my opinion.
Okay.
That is Nora's opinion.
Okay.
Esmeralda's opinion is that she will die trying.
Yeah. Omega. You're muted, I think.
Noggins needs more information. He needs to just make sure he fully understands. But he knows that it is his duty and his own. I know there's other dream druids in the Discord, and I love that. And I'm not shaping how they view dream druids. But for him and his grove, specifically his grove in the Feywild, they had almost a charge to make sure that the dream was just as stable as reality, because anything can happen in a dream. And when a dream goes wrong, reality goes wrong. So for him to be in such a nightmare right now, he almost feels like it's his duty to fix that. So in that same vein, he will do what needs to be done, even if that means sacrificing his own life to make sure this nightmare is ended. Does that mean we'll succeed? I don't know, but he will try. CB? Hell no. Sorry, heck no. Heck. I put
You can say hell. It's okay. It's PG-13 stream. You can say heck. You can say hell.
I love this cast. I love this cast. I love this party. I love this group. This party is such a discordant party right now, and they won't do anything until they get their stuff together. And I love it. I am not a fan of the party all loves everyone and we're gonna go save the day. Hooray! Kick me the flip. No, I hate that. This party right now has their own goals. We don't know half of what's going on inside of Sterling. Travas is so new. Dimitri's probably, honestly, Dimitri's probably the only like stable one we have right now. And even then, he's the Vengeance Paladin. So we don't know when that can flip. But and I'm not going to get on Falfer. So this party needs a lot of internal work, or they're not going to defeat Strahd, because Strahd will pick on that and pick them off one by one. That's how Omega feels. But I love it.
Adam.
I would say Dimitri is like everything in him is at this point pushing him in a very optimistic way. Like, we have our mission and we're gonna do everything in our power to accomplish it. And so I think at this point it's just sort of wavering between this is where we're going, whether or not it's going to work out remains to be seen, but we're absolutely headed in that direction and we can't afford to lose. But me personally, I think we're all gonna give it the old college try, and we're all so good at being ourselves, and it'll be good. It'll be a big explosion of whatever, and it'll be fun to watch.
I love you. It's great, Brandon.
When you say the old college try, I just imagine us fumbling our way to some kind of a victory like we always do. Tripping over rocks and sticks the whole way. But because I feel like that's just how we do it. We somehow succeed and then we burn the place down. It's kind of our MO. Now, for me, I think personally, I've been avoiding Strahd spoilers as much as possible. I didn't buy the book. I wanted to make sure that everything that I knew about the world is stuff that I learned in game. And of course, there's things that come about just because, being part of the show and talking to people about the show outside of the show, right? They have their thoughts and their ideas. Like I learned about souls not being able to leave long before it ever came up in game. So, but I didn't allow that to creep in. But for the sake of meta, I try to avoid it. So as far as Strahd goes, I don't know if we can, because I see him as this incredibly powerful being, and we're going to need every advantage we can. And so personally, that's my take, is that I think we'll do it, but I have no idea how we could pull it off. And as Sterling, he believes that it'll happen, and he has his own thoughts on how do I say this without saying too much? He has his own thoughts on how the party can do it. He has his own little plan and how to make this come together, how to make this work. But he, deep down, and he really knows it, is terrified.
Yeah, I bet he has 8 little plans. How many of them are there inside you? I bet he has 8 little plans.
There's 8 minds. They function as a single mind, but it's like, I mean, if you're thinking about fractions here, you got a pizza with 8 slices, and more than one of them has pepperoni. Let's put it that way. So whatever pepperoni means, I don't know. Some of them are a little spicy.
But it's all one pizza.
One of them has cotton candy on it, but it's all pizza, right? And everybody's got an equal input, but it's all one mind essentially that's making these choices. Though depending on the emotional triggers, some minds speak louder than others.
Yeah.
Within those moments.
Right. Some of them are bound to give you indigestion or kill a guy in a boat. You just never know.
Yeah. Well, and believe it or not, the one that wanted to kill the guy in the boat is not the one you think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good stuff. David.
Yeah. So Travas is fairly confident. He thinks he's with the right people. These are the people that are going to do it. So he knows that it's no easy task. He wants the same thing that the party wants, and he just trusts that these are the ones. These are the ones that are going to do it. These are the chosen ones. They're going to set us free. So nothing's going to stop them. Which makes me think we're all going to die. No, as a player, I think that we've been burnt enough by bad decisions. Or impulsive decisions that we realize now that we need to kind of tighten it up. We have a pretty clear checklist of things we need to do before we can even consider taking him on. But that being said, you never know what's going to happen. Strahd could just show up at any time and put a big wrinkle in our plans. I think that ultimately we'll achieve the goal, but not all of us are going to be around for the pizza party.
I want to comment really quickly on something you just said, and it's something I have thought about, and I've joked about it a while. I've been in different aftermaths and stuff. You said that we've all been burned by decisions that we made and some of the impulsive things, and we'll get our stuff together. Yet in the season finale, or the episode before the season finale, someone made a very impulsive decision and got one-shotted. So it's like, I don't think the impulsive decisions are done. However much we say they are, I don't think they're done, and I think that's going to be the downfall of the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I say that specifically again. I talk about Noggins looking at everything, and it was. I mean, and I know Joel has had a good, explanation for all of it, but your explanation doesn't necessarily mean that's how someone views it, right? And like for Falfer to have gone so hard at Sterling and Dimitri about their decision, and then we get to the literal evil Vistani camp, the place where we know that these are directly tied to the big bad that we got to fight. And your first decision is to run off and go do something reckless. And then you paid that price by almost dying. Literally, I am the reason you're alive. So it's just like, and that's where Noggins is like, I'm going to trust this, but I don't know. Just going to go along for the ride for now.
Yeah, I think that's really true, and I think that you as players, I was speaking from the player's perspective that we've learned.
Of course,
the characters have not all learned.
No.
Muskoka was learning. He failed the final exam. So
midterm.
Falfer
it's not even the final
learning.
exam. That was just the midterm.
Yeah, he failed the midterms. Falfer, he's got to learn. And will he learn from that? I hope that Joel looks at that experience that his character went through and that the character changes enough to realize like probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, like honestly, it's funny because after he got one-shotted by Argal, you guys all had that moment of like, we just need to work together, and we're here for a reason and a purpose. And at the end of that episode, I was like, oh wow, and I knew that I was going to call him out, that the hag was going to call him out at the end to come and meet her. And I was like, he may not go. He may actually tell the party, because I thought, even with that dream that I planted, I thought that he would still have doubts about Dimitri and Sterling specifically. But it happened after you guys all made up. So I was like, he's not going to go now. He's going to tell them. They're all going to go together. No. So no, even from episode to episode, Falfer didn't learn, because Falfer went off on his own, got naked, and now is with the hag. So
yeah, that's the where I've got the question is why get naked before?
I wish he was here so we could ask.
I know, I've got so many questions for Joel. He told me that he did it as a show of I don't know, respect, or like to kind of be vulnerable in that moment. I don't know what. Anyways, but he had a reason for it. But
he's looking at it from an actor's perspective. The whole peeling,
everybody's naked
peeling
in the afterlife,
layers to get to the core of the
I'm so happy
character.
Yeah, but
So
you
happy
never
he's
want to
been
do
so
that in D&D.
disrespectful up to this point.
Never take off your armor.
Just
He is real
keep
bad
your
without
clothes
the
on.
armor.
If we've learned
just
anything
think,
about donning and doffing armor, keep your clothes on.
Yeah.
A totally naked Falfer is one of the funniest things in my head.
Yeah.
I also think Joel as a person is a performer. He's a showman. So I think that he, as a character, likes to do things that mix it up and create drama and chaos and stuff.
Yeah.
So it keeps
He
it
also
interesting,
rubbed
keeps
the
it
oil
fun.
all over his body, right? Didn't he rub it all over himself?
Yeah.
So he probably thought like,
Before
I
it
can't just rub
gets in
oil,
the
like
basket
gray
again.
oil.
It puts
the
oil on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
I do have a question for Brandon, because we are learning so much about the amalgam, and we've seen now how many? 2, potentially 3.
I think you know the names of 2. You've seen more than one without knowing it.
Yeah, that's the part. How do you see? 'Cause obviously, player versus character is such an interesting thing, because we respect that the character makes decisions, but we also are the players who are playing those characters making the decisions. So it's a weird line. But how do you see Sterling going forth now? Knowing that things are still going wrong, and the evil Vistani, though they were dealt with, and though some weren't evil, they were just making a choice. We're kind of on this cliffhanger, feeling like we're kind of walking not necessarily into the end game, but we're walking into like we've hit the climax, and now we're going towards that moment. Do you foresee any of the others coming out publicly a lot more? In what way? Like I want to know so much about the amalgam.
Well, that all kind of depends. Like, Sterling has offered the party to say, hey, let's sit down and I'll tell you everything you want to know about the amalgam. But nobody took him up on it. So as far as he's concerned, nobody cares enough, or it's just not important enough to talk about right now because everything else is more important. So he's just continuing on as though maybe it really doesn't matter. Maybe it's not as big of a deal as I thought. You know, this one came out and it was scary because he almost killed this guy, Savit. But it seems like everybody was okay with that in the end. So, you know, maybe we can just keep going on. There's a bit of denial there because Sterling the boy still has quite a bit of influence. He has a huge amount of influence over the amalgam. He's the most recent addition. The amalgam has changed a lot with the addition of his personality and his mind. So so there's still a lot of the boy that comes out and what's happening in game. Yeah, without saying too much, I think that's where I'll have to leave that.
Valid.
So, yeah.
I will say, I Noggins without like being like this is going to happen. Noggins has made it a point to talk to Sterling specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
and
because of that
Sterling's
moment. Because he's like, what the hell was that? And he wasn't here when I guess Sterling asked the party if they wanted to know more, or maybe I don't remember. But he's interested, just because it seems like a dream within a dream, Inception, in some way, shape, or form.
And he didn't know Boy Sterling at all. He came along with the amalgam after the joining already happened at the end of season 2. So.
So building on that, Brandon, you did create not only one compelling character, but 8. How did that come to be? And what's it like for you to play so many personalities triggered by so many different events?
Well, part of it comes in with a book that I've been writing as well. And I won't go into too many details with that, but it works on a very similar process of joining minds. So, that it kind of just bled into the game from writing the book, to be honest. And I just love the way it played out, and being able to have these different minds working together in this unified being, while also being able to separate out one at a time and have conversations with itself out loud. You know, imagine if you could take out different parts of your personality and kind of buffer them into this one little section and have a conversation with yourself and think like, why are you like that? You know, me, why did you make that choice? And then being able to have a full on conversation with that. I thought that was a really interesting concept, and that's something that hasn't come out in game, but it has come out in GACUS. So people within GACUS community have seen or happened upon Sterling talking to himself at the Palisade, you know, that sort of thing. So they've actually seen more of the personalities than the party at this point. And one of the personalities is there just to be funny for the most part. And people that followed Dragon Spain will probably recognize him. So just as a tease.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, I'd like to read a couple comments from the audience that are super sweet, and I think that I just want to say them. One of them is from Bernardo Paiva. He says, hope all of you are well, that you continue to receive and give love in our community. May all the great things that you want come quickly, and may all types of hatred and injustice stay away from you and yours. If not, I'll come over there and kick those bad things butts, but he used a different word. Thank you for everything you've been doing and for all the light you've been bringing to all our lives.
Aw.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bruno.
Matt Machinsky says, Felfer writing on Noggins was one of my favorite moments of the season. That was
Mine
pretty
too.
amazing.
Yeah.
Especially knowing what we know now. D-Man
Did
Rose.
anyone else have the music?
Yeah.
Charge! Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Belfry. D-Man Rhodes, where did it go? He said, oh man, where did it go? Thank you for doing this. It has introduced me and my son to D&D. We have bonded over this. Thank you so much, you guys. Much love.
That's awesome.
Yes. And then from Matt Machinsky, Jason's painting tutorials led me to Realmsmith and opened the world of D&D to me. Been watching since Miss 2, and you all make this so fun to watch. Keep doing what you're doing. Love y'all. Basically, the community loves you guys, and I just want to make sure that's really clear to all of you.
Thank you.
It's mutual. We really love
Aw.
getting to RP with everybody and interact with everybody. Every time I get a DM, it just touches my heart all over again because I'm like, wow, they really just somebody wants to talk to me. So.
Yeah, like not to like come off as like that person, like yes, but like I'm busy. I do a lot. Yeah, if you know my presence in social media and what I do, I guess have a lot to do in this world. But it always brings me a lot of joy when, well, I'll say the fact that something that has been bringing me more joy in my downtime is to go into the Discord and roleplay. That says a lot. Like, this is a really cool community, and I really enjoy being able to, share these characters with everyone. Whether it's, Rico or Osmond or even Glory. I apologize for Glory. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you all for being awesome people.
Yeah. Mondays are always a day I look forward to because of this. Because I too, busy schedule. I feel that so hard. But Mondays are always fun, and love the community and everything that we get to share with everyone.
Yeah, that leads really well into a question I have for both Omega and Nora. Were you always planning on playing Ezzy and Sir Godfrey for so long? And if not, what led you to stay with the Dawnbringers for so long as a player and as a character?
Oh, I got asked to play an Ezzy as an NPC, for a one-shot thing, and it just fit, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I just kept on getting asked to come back until I was a normal cast member, which is like when Omega came on, I was like, just you wait. Because that's how they got me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of what happened. To be fair, I had also been wanting to do a longer campaign because I do a lot, but surprisingly, I hadn't done or been asked to do a lot of long-term campaigns. I get asked to do charity one-shots and stuff like that, but nothing whatever. I can actually have some substance. So when I got asked to play Godfrey, even though it was just, a certain amount of time, I was like, let's do it. Heck yeah. I get to play a canon queer person. Happy Pride Month. I get to play a canon queer person living his best undead life. I'm going to do that. And I love, not going to say loved, I love Godfrey. Godfrey was such an amazing character. But as we got forward, as I said earlier in one of the other aftermaths, I was like, hey, I'm here. Let me know if you ever want to come back. And they're like, you want to stay? And I was like, bet. But I probably shouldn't play one-shot Godfrey. Just because, so obviously there's a level of stuff I had to know before the show happened. I had to know all the Argynvost stuff, which led me to just knowing just a little more meta than I needed to. But I was also like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, all depends on the dice rolls. But if the dice roll were well, Strahd's not surviving Godfrey that long. It's just how he's written. He's written to be almost one of the most powerful, NPCs they can get. And I was like, I'm just gonna let him be an NPC. He'll stay an NPC. Let's play somebody else. And then the whole Noggins thing happens. And I was like, well, I'm a goat now.
So I got a question for Nora. If you weren't playing Ezzy, what character would you roll up for this campaign for this group?
Oh man, that is I can't believe I've never actually thought about this myself. It never even crossed my mind. I maybe would multi-class as some kind of spellcaster, but somebody who could like hit hard, which is not far from Esmeralda, but probably a different backstory, probably different motivations.
Thinking Eldritch
But-
Knight.
Maybe.
So Esmeralda's gonna die, and then we're gonna get a new character.
I was gonna say there are ways to make this happen. Somebody on the cast already knows about that.
You know,
I can
there's
tell you how
never
if you need help.
there's no straight path in this game and with this group, as I've come to realize with everything that's happened. So we'll never know, but I am so like, when I sit in this chair on Monday nights, I'm so much Esmeralda that it has never crossed my mind before ever.
That's awesome.
So
That's really cool.
I don't know. I would have to sling some spells, but also swing a sword maybe.
That's great.
It is pretty incredible how well you meld with that character. It's like one of those things where it feels like it was written for you. You're so good at it.
Thank you. I think for my whole love of D&D came from an acting background. Like that's the role play part is very much how I approach the entire game, and like what seems interesting in terms of storytelling. You know, what would be interesting for the entire story, not just my character, but for the story arc as a whole. So yeah, I love getting to sit as Esmeralda in this chair for, you know, much longer than just an NPC, because she's a really badass character.
Yeah,
you know? And I love getting to kind of expand on, if you read the books and she's such a badass, that I like being that character, but bringing a lot more, because you see her a lot more than just a one shot, bringing some vulnerability into that and seeing the true interactions and the complicated relationships that she has, like with say Van Richten in this, and kind of expand on it beyond the book. Because I think when you sit in that character for so long, there's only, you know, so much written on her, but so much you can bring and expand when you are in it for so long, and with people who offer so much in terms of like role playing. They're like, this thing only happens because of the other people that are sitting with you. So yeah, it's been really lovely playing her. It's been an honor, and I can't believe that like with Van Richten's guide coming out that this whole like world is expanding the way it is. But I do love playing her as a character.
Jasfal, one of our moderators, you know, Elder Guaril, he says, that's because you are Ezzy. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Adam, you were knighted as the newest member of the Order of the Silver Dragon, which was such a cool moment. Omega, I love that you made that happen. So what does that mean to you, Adam, as a player and as a Vengeance Paladin, to be the newest member of the Order of the Silver Dragon?
As a paladin, I think it kind of gives me two things. One, it sort of renews like a newfound purpose in the mission that we all have. And the second thing is it sort of gives me kind of like extra Barovian street cred, where I don't know how far it goes. These like the Order of the Silver Dragon's centuries old, but maybe Dimitri, that doesn't matter to him. He's part of it now, and he can kind of be like, yeah, I'm invested in this land more than when I got here. And so that kind of gives him extra bit of, I guess, kind of swagger, but also it just kind of makes it more laser focused. And like now there's like an organization behind me, and I'm sort of operating with this new authority. And then I guess half the question was as a player, Order of the Silver Dragon. I think it's just a really cool thing because I have a brand new sword, and it's I have two-handed, and I can reroll 1s and 2s now.
Oh,
And so that's been
damage?
useful. Great weapon fighting, yeah. On
Nice.
because a great sword is 2d6, and then I get to reroll 1s and 2s. So yeah, as a player, it's kind of like, oh, this is like a neat little bonus I had no idea was coming.
That's great.
I want to add, we've talked about it a lot as far as Godfrey goes, so I don't really need to get into that. I knew, like, we joked, obviously, Godfrey's now Bruce Wayne and Dimitri is Terry McGinnis. So, you know, they're going to, there's that. But I was talking to Jay, and I was like, I'm sure you already has an idea, but I was like, there's no other character that sword's going to other than Dimitri. And I was like, I know he has the shield that he uses, but hey, with the beacon lit, you technically will have that +1 instead of a +2, but so you have a +1 and a better sword versus a +2 and meh. So I was like, it's much better. So I was like, this is for you. I'm not gonna force you to use it, but I'm not giving it to anybody else. You can give it to somebody else if you want to, but I'm not giving it to anybody else.
No, I'm not gonna give it away. And also, I think even as a character, it's like I'm dropping the shield to do more damage, and so it's like we're marching forward with greater power now.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
I like that.
And I loved how you did use it. You know, setting somebody into.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
That was-
won't be the last time.
It was a great moment for the sword. Troy Jackson says Dimitri getting knighted was by far my favorite moment. That was definitely impactful. Squeaky says, I have social anxiety caused by PTSD. Realmsmith has helped me a lot to reconnect with people, even though it's over the internet. Thank you all, cast and Discord.
Oh,
That's awesome.
thank you.
And Sakura says, we appreciate you taking the time, Omega. Heart. Sari is planting those flowers everywhere in Barovia. And I gotta say, I was holding it together until you were like, where Balfour's tears are falling, a red flower comes up. And I was like, oh, that was so beautiful. What made you think of that?
So there are 3 spells that I think every character, if you're a spellcaster, if you can have one of these spells, you should have, and that's Druidcraft, Prestidigitation, and Thaumaturgy. They are your flavor spells. Like, do something with them, and they can do a lot more than you think they can. So look into them if you haven't. But obviously he has Druidcraft, and though you can't really, you know, create stuff, you can like influence. And I was like, he has all this Feywild presence. He has packs. I mean, he has like a pouch that has like different things from his home and all that jazz. And I was like, I can't not have this moment happen. And I was like looking up flowers, and it's inspired by the chocolate cosmos flower. It's very deep, almost cranberry red. And I was like, in this form from the Feywild, it has like these striations that almost looks like they're plaid. And I'm like, this is Muskoka. This is Muskoka giving you some kind of hope. We've named it Muskoka's heart. Muskoka's heart, Muskoka's tears, heart, one of the two. So now they are technically native to Barovia. So now Stridon effed up because we're here, and then we're left because of you. So I don't know. It was a moment I had to add it.
And let me say that to Omega's credit, it just speaks to his ability to kind of cross the veil and be functioning in the world. Like, it takes a very special player to be able to take the environment that you're in and enhance it that way. You know, because oftentimes when we're playing, you know, it's us in front of a sheet and you're kind of problem solving, and maybe sometimes people deal with it like a video game where there's a combination that you have to do in order to win. But it's when you kind of traverse the veil and live in the environment and are able to kind of like add flavor like that is incredible. So thank you, Omega, for doing that. That's just speaks to your ability to do that. So
Really beautiful.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I love those moments. It didn't have to be this grand thing. Just something like I'm so mad. I was looking at my notes and I was like, I didn't write it down. Sterling told me his favorite flower, and I don't remember what it is.
Frisia.
I know what it is.
Frisia, thank you. Frisia Doctor Do. Thank you. And Noggins asked for a reason. So
Yeah. It's great.
So that when Sterling dies, start planting.
no, what's gonna happen? Your body is gonna start growing flowers through. But no.
You'll smell me coming.
Okay, burning question time, because there's some things that, and if the cast has burning questions, I got a burning question. So Dave, when Muskoka almost died the first time, when the party was kind of like, yeah, you should go ahead, head up the hill, no problem, and then you cast light on yourself and you were heading out, and you kind of like were a beacon of
Bait?
Yeah, a beacon of whatever. Yeah, exactly. About to die. What was your, first of all, your character motivation in that moment and your player thinking in that moment? Like, from then to now, would you ever have changed that? And how has it kind of like informed your gameplay, role play moving forward? Kind of want to get into your head during that moment.
So I'll answer the second question first. I don't think I would change it because, I mean, I didn't know what would happen. And also the character hadn't developed to that point yet to say, hey, I probably shouldn't do this. It was recommended to him by his friends, like, hey, this is the best course of action we could take.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, I disagree, but if that's what you guys all think is best, then I'm going to go for it. And I'll be the distraction. So that's kind of why he just went ahead and he was the distraction. He was the most glorious distraction he could be. So I don't think I would really change that. What was the third part of your question?
So what was your player thinking? What was your character thinking? And then would you change it? And how has it informed your role player gameplay since? Yeah,
so definitely influenced how I played Muskoka going forward. Obviously, I mean his personality changed drastically.
Yeah, that was like his innocence died. Like that was the moment Muskoka's innocence died. Yeah.
Yeah, he became very bitter and distrusting and much more focused on self-preservation rather than teamwork. Teamwork was still we had a shared objective, but it was like if you don't look out for yourself, you can't look out for other people. So unless I keep myself alive first, I can't help anybody. And that was what kind of guided him going forward from there. I don't think that going into the hut was along the same lines as going to the effigy. He felt safe. Like it seemed like, both as a player and a character, it seemed like a pretty safe place to go. Mm-hmm. We looked in the hut, there was a baby and Baba left. So it seemed like, why not? Like there's only a baby. I can take on a baby. So he did change quite a bit. And now I am as a player making sure I'm much more careful, but within the framework of Travas's personality. So he did stay off on his own again this time, but the camp was empty. Everybody was dead, and they were kind of interrogating the last guy. And he thought, there's no way I'm going to leave all these Vardos just sitting here and not look for some coin. Come on.
Yeah.
And boy, did you find it.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even. Yeah, it's not even really public, kind of what was in there, but there's some good coin, and we'll divvy that up, and lock some away.
And I must say as well that you're masterful when it comes to evolving your characters based on what happens to them in the game. I know a lot of people kind of create a character, and then no matter what happens, they kind of stick to their alignment, to what they do, to what they believe. And you are masterful of being like, no, this would change my character. Even in the moment where there are so many times where you've been like, and I can see it in your eyes while you're doing it, and then talking to you afterwards, you're like, I didn't want to do that, but that's what Muskoka would do. Or as David, I didn't want to do that, but that's how my character would react. And in the same way, when you told me, when you broke the news to me, you're like, I don't think Muskoka's coming back. I don't think he wants to. I was like, wow, you're like, I love him and I miss him, but I don't think he'd do that. And I have to tip my hat to you on that, because
I wanted my Revenant friend, but whatever.
Yeah, he just I don't think there would be any reason for him to want to be back. The first death just ate away at him so much. The second one was like, nah, I don't need it. I don't need this. I don't want to be here.
Was there anything that Muskoka didn't get to say in that time where he was floating around, kind of giving his last words?
Yeah. And actually, I didn't think that wasn't part of the plan. It just, as we were about 20 minutes into the session, like kind of right before he started doing it, that's when I felt like, he'd be really pissed off right now. And I just typed out like a few sentences basically for each person, typed them out in a notes file that I had open. And yeah, I was going to go through each one.
It felt vindictive, I'll be honest. And I'm not calling it out as a bad thing. It felt vindictive. I was like, he is pissed.
Yeah.
Like for the moment that had happened, like obviously things happened, and then like just the immediate aftermath, I was like, is he becoming like a vengeful spirit? Like what's happening? Because it did feel like a little bit of a 180. And I mean, that's all just that pressure building up. And then, the finality hits and you're dead. You have nothing else to lose. It makes sense. But I was I was sitting there just like, damn, what else you got to say?
Yeah.
But it does say a lot for those final words to be vindictive rather than being anything kind or things that like he'd miss or something loving. Like that was very powerful for him to say, for him to choose to say those words.
Yeah, and he had that for each party member. The only person that he had something nice to say was Godfrey, and the words for Godfrey were along the lines of like him being able to see Muskoka for who he was, and that he hoped that he was able to reconcile with Vladimir, and that things would work out kind of as he would hope they would work out. So that was really the only positive thing he had to say. But once he saw Dmitri was down, that's when it kind of snapped him back out of it. And kind of brought the humanity of the situation back into perspective.
I think Muskoka was a really cool character. But I also think Travas is going to be a very interesting character. And there's been a lot of things. I, Omega Jones, Critical Bard, am very perceptive and I'm very insightful. And I've been catching almost every single last moment, like Savid or someone, or like Casimir would look at Travas and then look back at the group, or be like, why are you here? Like all those moments. And I'm like, what is it? Tell me everything. So I am very, very interested to find out more, because there is a lot more to this fanboy than I think the party realizes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of rumors and a lot of theories, and almost in a way, Travas is gaining this sort of like legend myth kind of getting wrapped around him, even though there's like hardly anything. Like he's joined this amazing group, and somehow there's more suspicion around, not suspicion, I don't know what the word is, but there's more of a fable growing around Travas, which I think is really interesting. I'm probably going to disappoint everybody.
He has his shady moments where he's being decidedly quiet. And those are things that I think also buffer between Travas and the party. Because, I mean, it kind of shows like, oh, he doesn't trust us entirely, and I'm not sure we trust him entirely yet. So
Yeah, I don't know how much of that should I get into, Jay? Like,
you don't.
Don't reveal nothing. We'll find out in game. I'm just excited to know. I just like. I guess I'm saying that I really enjoy that Travas is already showing that he's a multifaceted character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dimensions to him, and at first glance, he seems like this kid who's just excited to meet his heroes. But I think there's going to be a lot more that us as players and the viewers are going to be like, huh. So I don't know. I'm excited to find out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I hope it can all come out, because there's times that I really plan stuff that I want to have happen, and it does shape the character. Like, it's happening in the mind of the character, but it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I talked to Jay about, kind of finding a way to RP while we were at GACUS, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to actually type it all out. But Travas one of the things he found was a jewelry box with some jewelry in it. And he wants to leave GACUS with this box and some jewelry and make it back to his mom in Barovia and give it to her and show her, like, hey, I'm making it. Like, I'm doing something. I'm coming from nothing, and I found the Dawnbringers, and I'm fighting with them, and I'm making it, like, I'm doing it, Mom. Like, look. And kind of give her that as a gift. I don't know if I'll try to get a chance to actually RP it out in the Discord, but I want to make sure that event kind of is a big thing for him and a big thing for the character.
I hope that you can. I actually hope that you can do that on stream.
Yeah. I want to see Jason play your mom.
Hello, son.
I'll take that challenge.
It's me, your mum.
His mom is Mrs. Lovett.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely, come the season premiere, we'll definitely do like a what did you guys do the 2 days you're at GACUS, and we can cover some of that.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, there's some things that I want to do. Well, not necessarily want to do with Noggins, but there's some things that'll be revealed with Noggins. The thing about Noggins is, and I don't know how much I'll get into, is that I purposely built him as a character to help the party. Because but with that, I didn't build a lot of I built some backstory, but I didn't build a lot of backstory. So, and it's not backstory. Sometimes you find out backstory about a character and it just shapes everything about how you view this character going forward. That's not his backstory. His backstory is very simplistic. I'm more excited about what's going to happen with him versus what has happened in the past. So yeah, we'll see how all this stuff comes out.
I'm really curious about Noggins because he constantly refers to this experience as a dream. Mm-hmm. So why is he so convinced that this isn't real, and what could change his mind? Is there anything?
There's a difference between, and I use reality, and I shouldn't have used that word. There's a difference between what is real and what's a dream, but things in dreams are also real. Yeah. He views it as another realm. Like every dreamscape is a different dimension, for lack of a better word. And he's just stuck in this dimension right now. He's stuck in this place that he shouldn't be stuck in, as someone who can control and manipulate that dream to his own benefit or to the benefit of, nature and the world around him, as per what his grove did back in the Feywild. He should have a lot more control. It's very Inception-esque, as how I picture. Inception meets Alice in Wonderland. It's kind of how I picture his manipulation of that dream. Kind of just, he jumps and there's a rock underneath him that he can stand on, and he can jump again. There's another rock. Kind of just grabbing things out. He's manipulating this moment. And right now, he can't manipulate. He can manipulate that magic, but he can't manipulate anything. And on top of that, there is this literal mist, this literal just darkness, there's this void that is causing so much chaos and death. And he's like, this doesn't make sense. So it's a nightmare that someone has hijacked, perhaps. Let's figure that out. So it's not that he doesn't think any of this is real. It's just he should have a lot more control, and he doesn't. And he's curious as to why. Because that's starting like, there's a level of Do I have as much control as I thought I did? If this could happen, I haven't gotten into exactly why he's here yet. We've hinted at it at the very beginning. I don't know if people remember, but we haven't really gotten into what that is, because also leaving that in Jay's hands, because that's a potential act of its own. Yeah, so I don't know. I think being with this party and caring about them and knowing them is kind of renewing what he believes his pace will be, and his hope that he can get out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That actually changes some of my personal headcanon that I had for Noggins, to be honest.
What's your headcanon?
Well, I was thinking he was in denial. And there was a part of him that knew that it was real, but he wouldn't let himself accept it.
That's what I thought.
So, that's a part of it, but it's less denial that it's fake. I mean, that it could be real, versus this is something that is out of my hands and it shouldn't be out of my hands. So until I can figure that out, then it's just what it is. It's like, you know what? It's a dream. We're going to fix it. We're going to get through it. And the stakes haven't been as high for him yet as they've been for the party. So right now he's still in that, okay, let's figure this out, because this is definitely wrong, but it can be fixed. So let's fix it.
Yeah.
That's where he's at.
And I got to say, one of the funniest lines of the entire Into the Mist series was Ezzy being like, has my entire life just been trying to get out of a goat's dream?
And I'm gonna answer the question. I think it's been asked twice now, but the biggest thing about Noggins is obviously his name came out of the Discord saying, hey, his name is Noggins now. Yes. And like him becoming such a full-fledged character. But as I said, I built this character because this group was dying too much and they needed a firm healer to make sure they don't die. So I wanted to make sure that this character was able to do his job and do it well, which is why he doesn't have the deepest backstory, because it was never about who he was. He'll always reference that. And I'm actually excited for people to find out. There's two big things I'm excited for people to find out about him that I don't know if they'll come up. They might. They should. I guess I don't know when. But they're not like moments that are like, egads, everything's so different now. It's just what it is. It's something he's kind of accepted as well. But I'm just excited to see what he does with this group next. He does like them. He just wants them to get their act together. That's all.
So I have another question for everybody. A big part of the season was leading up to finding Strahd's tome. And when you finally found it, boy, was there some backstory revelation and some mindset revelation. I'd like to know, like, if that changed how you thought of him, like what you thought of him before that and what you thought of him after that.
I think we already knew some of the story already, just from things that came out in game. It hasn't changed Sterling's opinion. Sterling still has his same plan. He still has his same thinking about it.
What is your opinion of Strahd?
He's a broken man. He's been broken for centuries, and there's probably no redeeming someone that has chosen to do this as long as he has. So as much as Sterling would love to be able to redeem this man and bring him back to some grace and light, he doesn't see any way that that's even possible. He wants to bring light to Barovia instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Esmeralda, there's not a lot of sympathy there, because regardless of what had happened to you, your current actions are causing everyone misery.
Yeah.
And everyone is suffering because of your current actions. And so whatever happened to you in the past, we all have shit that's happened to us. But it's your current actions. It's the actions that you are consistently choosing every day that is causing everybody's misery, that is enough for me, and I don't have sympathy for that.
Yeah. What do you think, Adam?
Because we had sort of, like you said, Brendan, pieced together sort of his personality and some of what his backstory was, but I think just having it all filled in like that just more solidified what our opinion already was, which is this is a person who's chosen evil and has the most power in this whole land, and he's only doing things that are evil, and he needs to be stopped. So I think it just probably just solidifies it more in our own minds, in our own resolve.
I just want to be like, boo-hoo, bro. Your mom didn't love you. You weren't the favorite kid, and he ran off with the love of your brother ran off with the love. Okay. All right. So you decided all of this was because of, all right.
So,
Yep.
so he's
no
going
sympathy.
to put an entire population under subjection and subdue them to limited, like expose them to unlimited horrors.
Yeah.
Just because he's angry.
Therapy is what you need.
He's a little mad at his brother.
Family
that's why.
counseling.
Family counseling goes a long way. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, so Travas, I guess, would have thought of him as really like this bad, powerful, dark overlord. And really starting to read through that book, it kind of like destroys so much of his image. It's like in, I was trying to think of the movie reference, when they have like a fat flashback in some comedy, and the villain has like some traumatic childhood experience, like somebody throws a pudding at his face, or he gets pantsed and they're like, hey, you got a little wiener. Like that's what it feels like. It's like some stupid childhood event that he got made fun of, and now he's like, well, I'm gonna destroy the world then.
It's just cold. The water was cold.
Yeah, he's just like I mean, he's obviously still powerful, but it's kind of like, how do you not laugh at this guy before you fight him?
I don't know what you're all talking about. I think he's great.
I think you're great. Strahd's a douche.
Yeah, and Noggins doesn't know him, and therefore doesn't care.
Fair.
Just like, he hasn't really heard anything about him. He knows that he got. How much do I reveal? I've talked about it. I've talked about the junk. He got here, got basically mollywopped by somebody, woke up with druids, and then was transformed by Baba Saga. He doesn't know who Strahd is. He doesn't know that connection. He's only heard about him because of them. And he's like, okay, so he's the architect of the dream. That's what he knows. He knows that he's the architect of this nightmare. Figure that part out. He's bad because of that, but he doesn't know all the backstory and the drama and I want to suck your blood. He don't know none of that. So he's just
No
like,
one showed up to my birthday party.
right? Very much. He's like Maleficent, but only Maleficent actually was right. He's just meh. So yes, I will fight for Maleficent all day. She was right. She got wronged. But still, so yeah, he's not even a myth to Noggins. You want to talk about some myths? Go to the Feywild. You'll hear some myths. So like, that's where he's at.
How about you, Jay, as a DM, without revealing too much? How do you see Strahd?
I see
Or
him as
with
Matt Mercer.
revealing too much.
He will always forever be Matt Mercer. In fact, I'll beg Matt to come back and play him when the time comes. How do I see him? That's a great question, without giving away too much. I mean, even in life, we know that he wasn't the greatest person. And so, when he fell from grace and Barovia began, like, even before that, he wasn't great. But he did some horrible things and made some horrible pacts, and now is living his life in a tormented prison created by his own evil that he can't escape for 400 years, which kind of educates his mindset, if you imagine, right? I mean, somebody who would live a normal lifespan, even a life in prison or whatever, that time comes to an end. But he's been in that prison for 400 years. Yeah. How does that twist an individual? How does that expand that individual's worldview even past the horrible, I think Strahd's visiting, even past that horrible, experience. So I don't feel sorry for him, but the horrible Dark Lord that he's become, what do you expect? I mean, kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like, it explains the extent of his depravity, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you pity him?
Do I pity him?
Yeah.
I do. As Jason, what he did was horrible, and what he continues to do is horrible. I'm not sure that the result of what he's had to endure for all of these years matches up to what happened. Because if you do read, even I Strahd, which I read when I was in my teens, and I suggest everybody read, and even you guys could read now because you know his backstory. He did what he did out of love, which was dumb, and he didn't intend for Tatiana to die. He didn't intend for a lot of these things happened. His actions led to more bad actions that led to more bad actions that led him to being in prison for 400 years. So, yeah. Yeah, it's again, I don't in any way condone anything that he's done or anything that he continues to do. But I absolutely understand why he's where he is, if that makes sense.
Definitely. So, question for you, Jason, from Evan Rowell. Canon says that Dawnbringers is the title of the Lathander priesthood. Is the cast name a sign that Lathander is pulling strings in Barovia?
Interesting. Full disclosure, I didn't know that. I was even told that there was another stream that is called that the party's called the Dawnbringers, or the stream, and I didn't know that either. It honestly came to me, and I'm always against like making up a name for a party before it happens naturally. I feel that's contrived.
Yeah.
And I just waited for it to happen here. And it came from Sterling's whole hope and the dawn cometh thing with driftfuls and all that. The drift globe. And it was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, absolutely. The Dawnbringer. It just kind of clicked for me one day. And then that's when I had the kid come and tell the party that they're called the Dawnbringers. And then it just was a natural sort of perspective. So no, I had no idea. That was all just kind of happened in the moment, based on the narrative that was being created.
Lathander works in mysterious ways.
He does. He does.
I've got a question for you, Dave. So, if Muskoka was here now, he didn't die a second time, how do you think the story would have been different?
Ooh.
Yeah, he probably would have just died later. I'm kidding.
Imagine he doesn't die in this whole time.
Okay, so had he not died there, I mean, it would have changed everybody. It would have been really interesting to see the relationship between Muskoka and Noggins had he not died. I think that the it's tricky. That's a really tricky question.
Do you want me to narrow it down?
Well, Balfour wouldn't be naked inside of a hut right now with the hag. That's another difference. The battle for like lighting the beacon, it was. I think he would have just been really blown away by Sterling. Actually, like I think he would have been impressed the same way Travas was, like just you kind of end zoning this skull, like just running with it as a giant. I don't know. I don't really know how Muskoka being alive would have changed, other than I think we would as a party not be as careful as we are. We would probably be a bit more joyful, and I think Noggins and Muskoka would be like dancing in circles through fields of tall grass. Like they just would have been best buddies.
Okay, so an added question to that: Luvash, live or die from Muskoka's perspective?
Oh, from Muskoka? Oh, Luvash would have to die. He wasn't doing he wasn't doing good for anybody. Like, he's not like the shopkeeper, or sorry, the coffin guy who was like, I needed to save my family, so I, barred the church or whatever he did. He's just like, yeah, Strahd, whatever you say, I'll just go kill these people. It's not even about self-preservation. I think he wants to do it.
Luvash had a family.
Yeah, but what did you do about the girl?
The girl could live because she's not choosing to do that. So if you look at like the dawn or the dusk elves, the dusk elves are there because they have to be, not because they want to be. And Luvash seems like he wants to do this. Like he's on Strahd's team, and he wants to do it, and that's why he would die.
I want to chime in because I think I was very much team no, don't kill them. Well, I'll say Noggins was. Not really me. I don't really care. If I'm being honest. I think the biggest thing, it is almost a test. I think it was like the perfect test this group could have had, because they had been a little chaotic. And granted, within the span of 2 days, maybe, Lysaga, Muskoka dying, going to Argynvost. We were Argynvost for a couple of days, maybe like 2 or 3 days, I think. So maybe like within the span of a week.
Within a week, yeah.
Still not a lot of time. So much had happened. So I get where minds are. We need a beach episode, right? But if there was so much pointing to Noggins, there was so much pointing to, yes, these people are horrible. We do not condone the things they have done. They have done so much and somewhat affected even people in our party, like, Falfer and such. But we also all know the severity, based on what we've read and what we understand for Strahd now. We all know the severity of what Strahd, the lengths he will go. And if they had a choice between the obliteration... Shut up! If they had a choice between the obliteration of their people or helping this really horrible entity, he could empathize with, I have to save my people. Yes, they might get a little bit out of it because they've probably grown and been like, this is the comfortability for them now. But at the end of the day, if they didn't, like, they're still getting this note that's been opened is proof that they're getting constant information and getting constant commands from Strahd, which means he's watching them. He's always there. He's knowing what they're doing and what they're not doing. I would be scared too. I would be like, I'm sorry, I gotta protect it. Yeah, and we know as humans that this is not a good choice. We claim that if we had to save the world versus saving our child, we'll save our child and watch the world burn. But when that moment happens, we do not know because we don't have that foresight. So he could say, it's not that I don't want you to die. That was never the case. It was just give him the choice. If he says, yeah, I'm still Team Strahd, then fireball. Like, he was willing to do that. The issue was that we were taking away that choice. The choice that they have now this mythical group, the Dawnbringers, who are actively going against Strahd, one of the first times it's been seen in centuries. We have this group that actually has a chance to make change in Barovia. With us in your face, do you still serve Strahd or no? If so, then yeah, take this L, take this knife, whatever we need to do. But I want you to have that chance. And Noggins was willing to fight for that chance. Because if we didn't, we were no better than Strahd.
That's true.
Yeah. And just to go back quick, I think that if Muskoka hadn't have died, I don't think the party would be as tight as they are. They still have some ways to go. But I really don't think, like, a character death has a way of bringing a party together like nothing else does. And not to say that that's the reason to kill off players and so on and so forth, but before our first session with Matt Lillard in it this last season, he said Dungeons and Dragons needs blood in the water to be fun, to be good. And it's true. Like, if there's no fear of dying, if there's no consequences to actions, then it becomes a very stale, flat experience. That just kind of feels like a video game, and we have free lives that we'll just come back and we'll do what we got to do. So I think that it's brought a sense of weight to the narrative. I think it's brought a sense of weight to the party and the story. They're aware now, okay, people do perish in this land. And because of that, I do think that it's brought people together. I mean, look at Falfar. It's even though Falfar's making the decisions he is, it's changed him, like emotionally changed him. So I think it's had a massive effect.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, it may seem like the party's all chaos right now because of the things that we've done and the murder hobo sort of things that have happened. But let's keep into perspective all that they have just been through. Like they've been through the emotional ringer. Yeah. They are at the edge of their wits, at the edge of their emotional capacity. And like, who knows how close any one of them is to just snapping and losing their mind. Yeah. All of this has happened in a matter of days, and they haven't been able to mourn their friend, and they haven't been able to do it because it's just, they've been pushing and pushing and pushing. So I wouldn't say that the party won't have come together as a result of the death of Muskoka, but right now everybody is mourning and they're hurting in their own way, and they haven't really talked about it since that day.
Yeah, it's true.
So. And I think it's also really cool that with Noggins, we have a chance, or I won't say we, but there's a chance for that outside perspective to be seen because Noggins was not there. I mean, yeah, he was as a goat, but really no. Like that was not his emotion. That was not things he was feeling and processing. Whereas this party had just been through so much. So he had the ability to not have that emotional turmoil to make those decisions. And if Muskoka didn't die, the truth is, I mean, yes, I think Noggins will still be here, but there's a potential Noggins wouldn't have been there because I built Noggins to be the healer because that healer died. So who knows? But I think this party is going towards a very positive and much more tighter state than they were before, especially after what happened in the finale.
And what a finale that was. Actually, Matt Machinsky says, what a way to end the season, a cliffhanger with naked Falfar in a hag's hut. That is the most Joel ending you can get.
He wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Very fitting.
Well, we are getting close to the end of the hour, so I'm just going to ask a couple more questions. Omega and Nora have inspired all of us to get into character in so many different ways, especially with cosplay. Kelly Preston wants to know if there's any chance to see the whole party in cosplay.
I'm down. I'm always down for that.
Me too.
It'd be harder for
I said
some of us.
I said Realmcon. I think Sterling has a lot.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem. So
you've got your work cut out for you.
I'm hoping to find somebody that
silver.
Honestly,
never
if you
weird.
want me to record a video of doing silver makeup on your face to make you look more robotic, and then you can use like snap camera or something to give your eyes. That's sterling right there. People, I don't know if you watch closely, Noggins has blue eyes. I have a camera. I have a filter for it. If you look really closely when you look at me on screen, Noggins has blue eyes.
I thought I was imagining that.
No.
Nope, they are blue.
No.
I thought it was contacts.
Nope.
I think for RealmCon we should do a makeup tutorial with Omega
Bet.
live. And you can transform Sterling into Noggins live for RealmCon.
There we go.
When RealmCon happens. And for
think we should
RealmCon,
do
we
one
all will
where
be
we all-
in cosplay. I promise you that.
I was just going to
Well,
try to
we
get a
all
War
follow
Machine
along.
mask.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What were you gonna say, Dave?
I was saying we should do one where we all follow along. Omega will do one. Pick something, tell us what we need, and we'll all try to follow along.
That's a great idea.
Everybody try to do Godfrey makeup.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh yes, that is happening because that wasn't like Noggins, I can get Noggins on because we have 30 minutes for viewers. Most streamed shows you have like 30 minutes before you actually hear about 30 minutes while things get set up. I've started Noggins at the beginning of that 30 and been done. Godfrey takes a whole hour and a half
Yeah.
Yeah,
at least.
a lot.
At least. So.
So we have now all gone through. Sorry, did I cut you off, love?
Yeah, because I wanted to, because it's since you're the host, I'm going to call out the comment that says, can we give Hillary a shout out for the awesome job she's done with Aftermath? Thanks, Hillary. You rock too.
Wow.
Yes.
Goodness.
Yes, very true.
I'm just so happy to be here. I'm so honored. I can't believe that I found you guys. I pinch myself on a weekly basis. Like, how did this happen? But you guys are so awesome, and I'm just happy to be here. So thank you. Anyway, I'd like to know. I'm like really red. You can even see it through my full coverage foundation.
The full coverage.
Full coverage. I got dark circles. Anyway, how has everyone felt going through an entire season virtually? Were there any struggles or benefits for you?
I think it's gone pretty well personally. I always find it awkward whenever a bunch of us are at the table and then some of us are virtual because it's hard to, keep everybody at the table in a way. But I feel like this has brought out in a lot of ways more emotion in our characters because we're not looking around the table as much. We just kind of go ahead and play it out. So I think that's been good. I do miss being at the table with everybody, and I do hope that we get a future table that has holographic Nora and Omega right there with us.
So we've talked about it actually, and we plan to put little monitors at 2 chairs so that when you guys are talking, we can actually look at you guys rather than looking at the screen and the camera where our monitor is.
That'd be
So
great.
that's kind of the thought for us. I think it'd be good for everyone involved to be that, because again, it's hard, right? Like I know it's hard, but yeah.
I think we've gotten a lot better at just handling the virtual call thing. Like you're so afraid to run over another person. There's no physical cues like at the table of like, I want to say something, so you got to be a lot more aware of when other people want to say something, and give them that time. And yeah, so I think because of that, we've just become better at communicating with each other. It's forced us to listen to each other, and not wait for our turn to talk as much.
It's a good observation.
So season 4, we level 8, right?
We'll talk about that.
I'm mostly joking because the level up kind of just happened.
Yeah.
But it's like, we level 8, right? I mean, you level season 4.
You will be level 8 at some point during season 4, yes. That's all I'll say.
All right. I'll take it.
Adam?
The virtual game is, I like it that the simple fact that you can everyone's on screen all the time and you can see everyone's reaction when something happens, because you miss a little bit when you're doing multicam and the camera's switching a little. But if you, like, we're seeing everyone at once, then it adds like a lot of, you know who's going to react to what. And so if you hear someone saying something that Falfer is going to jump on, then you could be watching Falfer the whole time and just watch the realization kick in, you know? And so having that element makes it like a really fun thing. But also you can't beat sitting around the table in person. It's kind of like the heart and soul of the game, is just being there with everyone. And so hopefully we'll be able to get back in person soon. I think whatever the Canadian laws seem to be loosening now, and we can probably get back in person soon.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll be glad to open our windows soon.
yeah, there's a possibility that halfway to 2/3 of the way through season 4 we'll be back at the table. So
Ooh, okay.
that's the potential timeline currently.
Renew passport.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of
Yes.
turn, but there's
Yes.
discussion about certain conventions. Is there a chance that we could all be at the same table
Yeah,
sometime
so we're
this year before the end of the year?
we're discussing plans to be at a bunch of shows. Do I even say it? We haven't confirmed yet, but there'll be some presence for Realmsmith at hopefully Gen Con, PAX Unplugged, and Origins. So those are kind of the 3 shows that we're shooting for. I say shooting for because we don't know. Borders opening, all that stuff is still completely up in the air. But historically, we've done PAX and Origins as a company. Multiple members go to those 2 shows. So, and that's just until the new year. Gary Con's in the new year, and so we always do Gary Con, stuff like that. But we can also drive to Philly, and we can also drive to Columbus. So that means that we can all jump in a van like we typically do and drive the 8 hours it takes to get there. So, yeah, I mean, if we can get all of us together at one of those shows, we would absolutely do some live shows.
So if theoretically somebody was coming from, say, California, and they wanted to go to maybe one of these shows, which would be a good one to go to?
Oh, that's a rough one. I've never been to Gen Con personally. I know it's huge. I don't know if it might not be as big this year, just given COVID and the world. Origins has kind of been our mainstay, but PAX Unplugged is probably my favorite.
It's a fun one.
I don't know. I don't know if this is fair to say, but probably the later in the year, the more likely you are to meet more of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be PAX. PAX is in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know. You guys have been to a few. What do you think, Brandon? Adam?
Well, I think I've only ever been to PAX Unplugged, and I love it every time. I think that's probably the safest bet, like David was saying, because that's the one that generally the most of us get to go to regularly. So,
Megan, do you plan to go on any shows?
I plan on going to PAX Unplugged for sure. PAX Unplugged for sure. There's a potential I'm going to Dragon Con for some stuff, but maybe not. But anything else just needs to be talked about because just got to plan it out. But yes, I would not be against going to places. The later for sure, the better for sure.
Yeah. I am planning, I wasn't planning on announcing this, but I am planning to go to Gen Con. I will not announce what it is for yet, but I'm planning on being there doing things. I would love to go to other ones. I just don't know if that's a distinctive yes for me yet.
Sure.
But the more people I know are going to other things, the more I'm persuaded to go. So that's how you'll get me there, y'all. Just saying.
That's awesome.
Oh, man. Well, we are at the hour, so I think we kind of need to call it. Just any last thoughts that you guys have about how the season went? Anything else that you want to say that you haven't had a chance to say yet?
I just love getting to play with all of you guys every week. I love how this team has come together. I love everybody that started with. I love everybody that's here now. Nora and Omega, you guys have just made this game extra special. and I think everybody has brought something really, really precious and beautiful. I loved Muskoka's entry, and you know, I think we've all been through a lot as players and as characters, and I just wanted to let you all know that I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful to you, Jason, for putting this together and for doing this every week. It's prep ain't easy, but you do it all the time, and you do it masterfully and effortlessly. But I love you all. It's too bad that Joel isn't here, but my heart is full when I get to be with you guys, even if it's virtually. So thank you all.
Samesies, buddy.
Yeah, 100%.
Likewise, all of that.
All of that. I mean, how does anybody follow that?
How do we follow that, Brandon? Jeez.
You can't. That was
I talk too much, I know.
No.
I think, and this may seem small, but it blew me away when Matt Lillard said that he went to a show and people were saying that they couldn't wait to see him on our show the next day. Like, to me, that just speaks to how special what we're doing is. And every week I get comments and emails about how much we're affecting people's lives. Every single week I'll get an email or a message or something that'll say, you know, thank you for bringing me through the pandemic. I don't know where I'd be. Or, you know, I suffer from depression and was close to ending it. And because of you guys and the community, I've been able to go on, like, every week. And so, you know, it feels like we're playing a game around a table and it's just fun. But that is, and I've said this many times before, that is something I never foresaw. That is something that it was never kind of part of the equation when we started this thing, but is now by far the most important part of it. And even, you know, when we don't feel like it, we don't feel like getting through it, getting around this table is doing more for people than we could ever hope and imagine. So, you know, I'm just thankful that I'm able to do that. I mean, not only old friends like David, who I've known for 20 plus years, 25 years, 26 years, something like that. And Brandon and Adam, who I've known for a long time, and then new friends, like Nora and Omega and Hillary and all the Smith Guardians, and Joel, but I've known him for a lot of time. But anyways, like, honestly, to be able to do this with my best friends, and to be able to do what we do and make the difference that we do is like, there's nothing else on the planet I'd rather be doing. So, it's a dream.
I want to shout out how awesome this group is, because I think I wear my feelings on my face, and if I didn't like this group, you would know. You would also know, because you would know I would not be here. But no, I have really come to enjoy this group. I mean, I enjoyed it from the first episode I got to be a part of. And I actually remember before that first episode, I watched the season 2 finale. And I was like, ooh, this looks like a fun group. What is this? And I know I've been honored to be able to join this group, and, you know, just go along for the ride with y'all. And, you know, thank you for allowing me to sit at this virtual table with you Canadians. Hopefully, you know, I'm filling the seat well, and I can't wait until, you know, what happens in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, technically,
Excited.
well, I don't know what y'all are revealing about next week or not, but
Wow. What's next week?
in the Discord.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fun things happening on the Discord. It's a good time to join. Come check us out.
Yeah, great things.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything to add, as you know, before I do my thank yous, I like to open the floor for everybody to plug anything exciting that's coming up, anything they're doing that they want our audience to know about. So let's start with Dave. What you got?
Okay. The only thing I've got coming up outside of Realms, I mean, we have our Kickstarter going on right now. We've got 2 weeks left. Yeah, it's going well. We added a new backing point as well. That's a bit of a lower price for some people. Doesn't have all the fancy designs, but it's still
Nope.
the initiative order.
So we lost it for a second.
You cut out
Okay,
for a second.
yeah. So I'm doing a game on Friday with the initiative order, and there might be another stream coming up that I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything about. But follow me on Instagram, and maybe I'll talk about that.
Alrighty. Brandon, what you got?
Well, I know the one that David's talking about because it sounds like I've been invited to GM it. So Cyberpunk Uncensored has gotten a bit of a deal with Modifius on their Fallout tabletop game. So I've been invited to GM that game. So right now things are still in talks, but yeah. So David might be joining us for some of that. But it's still early chat. I'm also in a cyberpunk game with Sirenscape. It's called Don't Have a Cow, and it's hilarious. I think our last episode was the best of the lot. It was hilarious. There was really funny deaths on the enemy's perspective. Well, I mean, they didn't think it was funny, but we did. Yeah, but it was good times. It was really great to see how that all come together. And also, I'm making further steps towards being able to do a. I know Jason and I have talked a little bit about this, but the occasional episode of Dragon's Bane, kind of like occasional one-shots to continue the story. So it all depends on people's, I guess, schedules and things like that. And I want to do a bit of a rewatch podcast thing leading up to it. But yeah, keep your eyes and ears open because things are happening.
Awesome. Adam.
I don't have any cool streams coming up or anything, but I guess the only thing happening in my life currently is my wedding in 2.5 weeks. Which, if the border was open, I'd invite all you guys to. But also, there's like a capacity limit, so it's probably good that you won't be coming. That's happening July 9th.
Amazing. Congratulations, Adam. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Omega, what do you got going on?
Too much. Honestly, a lot's happening. It's a way to call out dates when, it's just like being, put up later. But just follow my Twitter and my Twitch at Critical Bard. Lots of things are coming up for me that I'm very, very excited about, like doing things with Team Liquid, or I was just one of the faces on the billboard in Times Square and things of that nature. So just keep looking out for all of that. Yeah, very, very, very exciting stuff.
Awesome. Nora, what you got going on?
Hello. Well, you can follow me at Norological on all the things, and I will have updates for you. But on Mondays, I'm here. Wednesdays, you can catch me on twitch.tv/playrenegade at 7:30 Pacific, because we are doing a season of Vampire the Masquerade: The Nightlife, which is our VTM campaign set in Miami, which is really cool. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I think we did 2 episodes already, so you can catch up on that. Thursdays, I'm on D&D's channels for Black Dice Society. Saturdays, so I'm on Damsels and Dice, which is an all princess D&D campaign, and we've been on hiatus, but we'll be back. Yeah.
So
Omega has played Scar on our, it's an amazing, his cosplay is amazing, and we loved having him on there. But we're back July 10th, so that will be back on Saturdays on Pixel Circus. LA by Night is returning in September, and then I've got a few other projects. Well, I can announce one, I just don't know when it's going to be, but because Glass Cannon announced it. But I'm going to be a part of their first ever D&D campaign on Glass Cannon Network. network that's coming soon. I think it's going to be late summer, early fall, as well as a few other projects that I can't talk about yet. But follow me on stuff, and I will have updates on things and proper dates like a normal person.
So many fun things. Jason, anything you'd like to add?
Just the premiere coming. I'm very excited about it. I'm glad to stay in the Mists and do another season of Into the Mists. It's going to be great.
Yep, it's going to be amazing. All right. Well, with that, huge thanks to our sponsor, Forged Gaming. Thank you for having faith in us and helping this happen. A big thanks to every single one of my beautiful interviewees today, my guests. You guys are all phenomenal, talented, brilliant, loving people, and it's a pleasure to get to watch you every week. Big thanks to whoever's producing today. Is it Jason or Julian?
Me. Yeah, no, it's me.
Okay. Thank you, Jason, for making all the pretty screen things happen. Thank you to our Realm Watchers, the Technomancers, and the Tail Weavers for everything that you do. We could not do this without you. You provide so much value. And of course, thank you to the Smith Guardians for all of your tireless work. And last but certainly not least, a huge thanks to our viewers. If you were not here, we would be speaking into a void. You make this happen every week. You show up, and we appreciate your time. So thank you. And we'll see you not this Monday, but Monday, July 5th, as we venture back into the mists. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.